All right, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone. This is another episode of TnT Knows It All Sports. Your co-host Ty, and over there is my man.
Thomas, a very upset Bills fan, but good evening, good morning, wherever you guys are watching it. But what the hell happened week one? But we'll talk about it more.
Yep, some people are happier than others about week one, but we got a
Yeah.
full agenda to get to this week, so we're gonna jump right into it. But first, so what we'll talk about today is we're gonna do a recap of week one from our team's perspective. So, um, you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed your team. You get to hear about your teams later, but we're not gonna go into detail on all the games. Just kind of talk a little bit about ours. Then we're gonna preview week two. So every week we're gonna actually preview the upcoming week's games, and we're gonna pick a spotlight game for each week that Thomas and I will discuss in detail. So we'll give you a preview of that game, week two, and then for the following week we'll discuss how that game went in more detail. And last but not least, we got a new segment for TnT Know It All Sports where we're gonna have two different parts. One, we're gonna talk about who dropped some knowledge from a know-it-all perspective. So, Thomas and I can give a person or group or team or whatever that we thought, showed some knowledge. And then the last part is gonna be like, what are you doing? So who's a person that we're like, what the hell are you doing out there?
Right.
Um, so we'll give you,
I,
our
I
take.
I wanted to call it the dumbass of the week, but for political reasons, we'll keep it very PC.
Yeah, hopefully, we don't get canceled already, even though I don't know. We want to keep
Right.
keep you guys flowing. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about week one of the NFL season, and we'll just go in order of the games the way they were. For us, both our teams played in prime time, and both of them played in Meadowlands. So
Right.
we had the Cowboys played the Giants, if you want to call it played. Um, I don't even know what to say. It was such an ass whooping. I'm just gonna be blunt about it that I don't really know what you get out of it. But I will say this, talk to a bunch of people at Cowboys. Everybody's so excited and shocked. I wasn't shocked. I mean, 40-0 is a lot, but it's kind of if you watched the episode last week, I was kind of trying to tell you guys what's going to happen with our defense. It's kind of ridiculous. And I feel bad for the Giants to be the first team to feel what is going to be happening to pretty much most teams. Doesn't mean we're going to go undefeated because I don't really trust our offense still, and they didn't prove anything to me that game. But that the speed, the pass rush, the linebacker play, our safeties are all crazy. We didn't even have our best safety. Donovan Wilson didn't even play. It's Giants. I mean, they're just not the type of team that's going to be able to beat us. So um, it was great. It was entertaining. They were flying around. It was hitting. So I'm happy to see that Dallas is getting respect. But it's week one. We didn't win the Super Bowl. But I will tell you this. And you're going to talk about your game, of course. But we play the Jets next week, and I'm
Right.
very disappointed that, of course, Aaron Rodgers. If you don't know Aaron Rodgers, tore his Achilles in the Bills game the night before, but I was really looking forward to Dallas finally beating Aaron Rodgers because he's our nemesis. And now we just have to beat up on Zach Wilson, who uh is out. But yeah, any thoughts on that game, Thomas? I mean, it really wasn't much. I mean, highlights
Nah,
besides
I,
Dallas.
I, I stopped watching after. No, actually, I watched because I have three fantasy players, Dak,
Yeah.
CC, and I barely won one game because they were
Mhm.
about, they going to start pulling them off. Pollard scored a touchdown and
Yeah.
got me to win. But I mean, it's bad when the opposing defensive star, Parsons, calls out the Giants for not protecting Daniel Jones. That's how bad the game was
Yeah.
that the man felt bad for, right? So it looked really bad.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to say Daniel Jones, like, is he the right guy? Did they pay him? Did we watch it? It looked like that. It looked like what's that? Unnecessary roughness when the guy
Yep.
was like, wandering around like
Blow the
talking
whistle.
about himself.
Blow the whistle.
That's what Danny Dimes looked like, aka Vanilla Vic, they call him, right? So so it looked bad. It looked really bad. Your left tackles are getting paid the highest
Yeah.
in the NFL. He looked overwhelmed. It just, I mean, the Cowboys look good. So,
Yeah.
but you really couldn't tell because the game was over. I think 3 minutes, actually 2 minutes in the game,
Yeah, it was
when
bad.
they blocked the field goal, it was over, man. I was
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
I
it.
mean, yeah, definitely it was over. I mean, I'm happy. I'm glad to be 1-0. It's a division game. It's a road division game. It's an NFC game. All those things matter in this for the Cowboys because we got a couple teams that played pretty well this week that we're going to be competing with the entire season. All
Right.
right. So, do you want to go in? I'll let you start for on your team, a recap of week 2.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to recap what I said last week, where I said the Bills have to come out. You had a terrible loss in the playoffs. All the
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs drama and everything. Josh Allen with his new haircut or whatever he is, California style.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that in a second. But the team had to come out on all cylinders, right? And I knew it was going to be a tough. First off, it was going to be a tough game because the Jets match up well with the Bills, right? So I
Yeah.
didn't think it was going to be a blowout. I thought it was going to be, they're going to win. They win by 7-10. It would be a good game. It was raining, so I thought the advantage would be the Bills, right? So when it was raining, it would be the Bills because Aaron Rodgers, well, he did get hurt, can't really move, and then both their tackles are terrible, as we
Mm-hmm.
saw in the first series.
Yep.
So the Bills, right? So I mean, I don't want to. I can go all over the place, but let me just focus on a few things. The
Mm-hmm.
first is Bills fans. I hope. Well, we haven't had this podcast long enough, but I can tell you,
Yeah.
I've never been a Sean McDermott fan.
Right.
I haven't been a fan. This man can't make any damn adjustments at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times he gives up leads, or the team comes out and offense looks like the damn same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a tale of two halves. The first half, 13 point. Josh Allen made some mistakes. We'll talk about it in a second. But the Bills were winning by 10.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Wilson, you could see the whole stadium deflating when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. You winning, 13, 13-3. You got some momentum, and all you have to do is not turn over the ball, run it, and let Zach Wilson be Zach Wilson, as you saw in the interception to Man Milano.
Yeah.
No, let's go to second half, and all of a sudden, Sugar High Josh, as Kyle Bryant calls them, comes out. They had three out of before the last drive of the OT. They had 3 out of 4 drives for a turnover, and the
Mm-hmm.
other one was a punt. 70 yards of offense. That's why they lost the game because of Josh Allen. Because McDermott, I don't know why this man can't just pull it in on the side and say, "What the hell are you doing? Like, relax, run the ball." It's just very deflating. That's why I don't want to go all over the place because Bills Mafia already heard it for 3 days
Mm-hmm.
already.
Yeah.
I want to focus more on coaching. This is
Yeah.
why coaching is important. All right, again, I know there's been chat rooms we're a part of it. People
Mm-hmm.
agree to disagree, but this is what happens when you don't have a coach that is able to actually control his person. Patrick Mahomes last year had the same problem, not as bad as Josh Allen, but Andy Reid, when they were 3-3, settled him down. It seems like Josh Allen is digressing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Digressing.
Mm-hmm.
His mechanics looks off. He looks very antsy. I watched the all 22. It's the first game of the season. You're already looking antsy. I know Spencer Brown's terrible on the right side, but
Mm-hmm.
you look antsy. You're making bonehead throws. You're playing hero ball. It's not good. 3 interceptions. He played terrible. I mean, you want to be a top. People, Bills fans complain that they say that Joe Burrow's not better than Josh Allen. Well, I mean, I know Joe Burrow had a terrible game, but right now it's not really helping Josh Allen. Now, the only thing that I look at is, let me give you a silver lining. Get it? He does not match up with the Jets.
Right.
There's a something floating Twitter that he literally had the same amount of the statistics were the same basically in both losses,
Mm-hmm.
which sucks. So maybe is the Jets a kryptonite? I don't know. But Josh, you better show up next week. But
Yeah.
on a positive note, their defense looked good,
Mm-hmm. They did.
except for one. If you take out the one long run, I mean,
Yeah.
besides that, Defense looks good. I sort of got a builder the only team in the NFL that gives up a third and 22. I don't know why, but it did one to Zach Wilson, but it didn't lead to any points. But thank goodness. There, I mean Leonard Floyd. Wow,
I
what a
know.
pickup!
Yeah.
So he looked
Yeah.
good. I'm excited to have Vaughn. And Terrell Bernard didn't. I mean, he's rusty, but he didn't play that bad.
Yeah.
And the Trey looks like Trey looks like he's
I
back
thought
to.
Trey did well. Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the catch. This 3 years in a row, by the way. The Bills might have to catch the year out of them. 3 years. Hopkins,
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson, and then maybe that Garrett Wills is
Mm,
week one, but this is 3 years in a row where they're getting the catch of the year against them. But you can't defend any better. So overall, I'm doing well. But the most important stat that I want to leave on before I get to you is that now Josh Allen and McDermott, because I'm including his ass in this stat, are 0-5 in OT games.
yeah. And that's a stat. And it's funny when I'm watching the game, I was like, yeah, of course I want the Bills to win. And I was like, man, when they went to overtime, it was good they went to overtime because clearly they got lucky to get out of overtime, hitting the upright and going in. But I was like, dang, I knew that stat before they said it. I was like, oh, they somehow
Yeah.
figure out ways to not win overtime games. I'm like, ugh,
Ty, they called a draw on second and
I know.
16 in overtime.
I know.
What the fuck?
I
what
know.
is like
It was it was sad, but
coaching?
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you can't defend Josh Allen. I will say this: I was very proud of Troy Aikman because the third interception, but Josh Allen was not his fault.
Oh yeah.
And I know people were going to blame him because he got picked, and you guys argue me, but Troy Aikman saw exactly what I saw. Gabe Davis, what are you doing? And you know what? This is what happens too. You play hero ball when your receivers can't get open and don't know how to run routes. So you run out, you can't
Yeah.
be flaring out. An out is an out. It's not this
Yeah.
loop. I mean, this is
Yeah.
what they teach you when you're 7 years old.
Yeah.
So
Right.
what happens? You get undercut on the out route, which is what happened. He got picked off. So, but still, regardless of that, it doesn't matter because the other ones were so terrible that you know,
Right. Well,
and
I was gonna add to that interception. If he stared it down, Jordan Whitehead saw that. So basic football, wouldn't you like, okay, I'm not gonna get that, and then progression, and then Steph Diggs wide open in the middle. But I'll
yep,
let you go. I mean
yeah,
that's the part I'm talking about, like coaching part or whatever the hell is
hmm
happening, the
yeah.
mechanics.
Yeah, and
So
I think you hit it on the head though. I think with the progression stuff is that he had a clock in his head with this team. He got hit a few times. He didn't trust his line, and he started seeing it, which is more reason why you don't throw the ball 41 times and run it 15 with a running back. So again, coaching, I agree with you. But week one, we don't
yeah.
overreact. Dallas isn't the greatest team of all time. They're not Bears 1985 Bears defense because they just shut out the Giants 40-0. And Josh Allen is not Jay Cutler all of a sudden. Like, so we're just, we're
Yeah, so,
but it's just 1 week. And I understand to be frustrated, but I think both teams will be okay. Um,
yeah. I mean, it's week. Like I said, it's week one.
yep.
Disappointing, but as we talked about before, and I don't mean to sidetrack, but for our viewers, because I said a comment when the chat room's like, I don't really care about football till week 7. They're like, well,
Hmm.
what does it mean? Does it matter? No, of course you can win. You get to win
Yeah.
games, but this is when people figure out two teams in particular: the
Yep.
Bengals and the Chiefs, 3-3, 2-4, both with the AFC Championship game. Seattle 5-2, looked terrible the second half. It just teams start figuring out what you
Yeah.
do and how do you adjust, right? So
Yep.
while you have to be important to win the game, you don't really see people still like even Bill Belichick said this. I really don't care about football until after Thanksgiving. That's what he said. That's what he quoted.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Nope. Nope. That is a fair statement. And since we picked these games and we're not going into all the detail, I do want to say, though I don't like Aaron Rodgers, I am definitely sad to see what happened to him. Four snaps, man, like the Jets are cursed. Just put it that way, they're
yeah,
cursed. And there's a bunch of rumors about, what they should do now. I personally, I never hated Zach Wilson. I just think he needs, to be in a better opportunity. His teams has been terrible. His line's still terrible. So again, I don't see how great he's gonna
yeah,
do, and they're gonna blame him for it. But I didn't think Aaron Rodgers was gonna do as great as everyone else did. That was just me, I guess.
We
And in
both
the
said
first
it.
4 games, it was only 4 plays, but he did not look very good those first 4 plays. I mean, I was like,
Right.
ooh. I was laughing actually at the beginning of the game. I'm like, this is what I thought he was gonna see, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And even the play
He's
he got
blind.
injured, that was his fault. It was a
Yeah,
three
Garrett
step
Wilson would,
it was a 3-step drop. You don't
and
a
Garrett
three
Wilson would
step
open.
Yeah, but
And
it's
Garrett
three
Wilson
step
was
drop.
open.
You
Yeah,
don't pump
true.
fake on a 3-step drop. When you do, you can't escape. The guy's cutting the guy because he thinks you're going to throw a quick pass. When you don't do that, that's why he was open. That's why he got sacked. That's
Yeah.
why he got hurt. So
You're right about the cut because if you cut him, that's the quick pass. You're right.
it's a quick pass.
And Garrett Wilson was open.
Yep.
One of my buddies, who's a big Packer fan, said Aaron Rodgers is known for not liking to pass the ball in the middle.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. And
Yep.
Garrett Wilson was wide open if you watch the play. But again, but we talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
It's bar injuries, like you said, I feel sorry,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't think the Jets were going to make the playoffs
Yep.
anyways because they're lying. And I saw in the Hard Knocks, if you guys watch Hard
Yeah.
Knocks, you saw the Carolina game.
Yeah.
And Brian Burns was in that
Yeah.
backfield all day.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
But oh well. So, anyways, yeah, very interesting week 1. But yeah, let's so we are off to like Bill Belichick said, we're off to Cincinnati. No, I'm joking. We're on the week
Yeah.
we're on the week 2. So we'll preview some of these week 2 games. We'll start. The first game is tomorrow or Thursday, September 14th. It is the Vikings at who are 0-1. They lost to the Buccaneers. They're playing the Eagles, who are 1-0, and they beat the Patriots barely, and they got lucky, which I feel pretty good about. Um, but um, that it was a close game because I just saw a lot of flaws. So, anything you want to say about this game, really, Thomas?
Is the Eagles. The
Yeah,
Vikings defense is terrible.
yeah.
They're already ranked 31st. They're where they were last year. Don't look
Mm,
like they're getting better. The cornerback, and Baker, they made Baker look like he was back to it, which we'll talk about in a second. I think he's going to come back to earth. But I
yeah.
think it's going to be closer. It's going to be a closer game than maybe
Mm,
what is the spread? What's the spread? 3.5? I think 5 or
yeah,
I don't even
something
know
like
what
that.
it is.
Yeah, I don't even know what
So,
this spread
so,
is.
so I mean, but the only thing that might get the Eagles is
Mm-hmm.
that two of their starting D backs are hurt.
Mm,
Bradbury's hurt, and even though Blankenship is not really that great to me,
yeah,
and so but can they take advantage of it? I don't know, but I got the Eagles.
yeah. Actually, Eagles are 6-point favorite,
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
but it's I mean that's about right. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I think the Eagles are going to win too. Um, it's weird. I don't feel like Vikes defense played that bad, but you can't have that many turnovers. I mean, that's what happened. I mean, Kirk
Right.
Cousins, I don't know what that was. So, but football's law of averages, and you win 11-0 in one score games last year, 0-1 already this season, one score games. Averages, that's gonna come back. So they better figure something out because they could have a rough year and look the same. So like I said, I even said that though. I thought the Vikings will have a worse record than last year, but be better. And I did see some things that looked better. Defensively, I thought they were better, but they didn't score as many points. I mean, they scored 17 points. So, um, next game, Packers Falcons. So Packers won. They're 1-0. They beat the Bears convincingly, and the Falcons are 1-0. They beat the Panthers 24-10. So, my thoughts on this game. The game's in Atlanta. Really quick. I wasn't very convinced with. I mean, Falcons won. Somebody had to win that Panthers game. They made Bryce Young look like he was his first game. I mean,
I don't know. He
two
looked terrible.
interceptions. Yeah, those two interceptions. You got the same on the same exact play. Um, but Desmond Ritter, man, like I texted you during the game, right? I was like, this is hard. It was like maybe 5 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and this guy had completed like 20 passes or something for 90 yards.
And he got a bomb at the end to help his average, but
I can't recall seeing that. That's really hard to do. To average less than 5 yards, a completion, not an attempt. Attempt, you see it sometimes like 5 yards an attempt for
yeah.
completion. That means they
Right.
were literally throwing the ball in the line of scrimmage, and you watch the game. That's what they were doing.
It
That's
was
not a
check down.
winning form. Yeah, it wasn't even a
Yeah.
check. They weren't even check downs. They weren't even allowing them to check down. It was like hike, throw it to immediately.
Bijan, yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, that's rough. And so I think the Packers are going to win. I think the Packers defense is good. People forgot Packers defense was good. I said before, all of a sudden, oh, Packers are good. No, their defense has been legit. So
Right.
I think they're going to win the game, but it might be an ugly game. So
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts.
Well, the Packers used, and buddy of mine is a big Packers fan. They use all their first round picks on defensive players
Yeah.
still,
Yep.
So like, look how many first rounders they got on that defense. And they're actually, showing up. I got the Packers. I mean, Desmond Ridder looked like Trent Dilford out there. I mean, I don't know, like, not a bad thing. He didn't want to pass the ball. There was a few times actually I was watching the games. I was interested to see because I have Drake London, who by the way didn't even have a catch at one target. So I was watching the game like, is this man going to look past 5 yards? And it's a little worrisome because I don't know if that's coaching, but I have the Packers. I think the Packers are going to win by at least 10 points. I don't think the Falcons are going to be ready.
Yeah.
And that guy Jordan Love again, I'll say don't look too bad. I know it's against the Bears defense, but the Bears actually have a decent defense. They'll be good. They'll be a decent. I ain't great, but they're decent. Defense.
Yeah, no. Well,
They're
we
good.
disagree on that. Remember you were saying you like the
I
offseason. I was
think
I did it. I was like, I like all their defensive, I mean offensive moves. Their defense, I didn't see I mean, I know they got Trey Evans but I just still
Edwards,
didn't
TJ
see
Edwards.
yeah. I still didn't think that their defense was going to be bad. And they look terrible. I was like, look,
Man. Well, we'll see. Time will tell. I think they look okay. But
yeah, we'll see. But all right.
I
Yeah. So I actually in the line is one for Green Bay. So if you are
which
betters out
if
there,
I'm betting, I'll take Packers.
yeah,
If I was in Vegas again, I'll be taking Packers all day.
yeah, I could agree with that. All right. Next game is Bills Raiders. So
I mean, so my mind tells me that the Bills are going to come back and win like they do, right?
hmm
And then the Bills Mafia will forget Josh Allen. It's like that relationship that you had, that
yeah,
toxic relationship.
yeah,
Um, you know, but the problem is that again, what I saw, well, I don't know. Last week, or this, the last game we saw,
yeah,
just kind of scares me a little bit. And the Raiders are tough, right? They're coached well.
yeah,
Uh, but so what's interesting about this game? Two things I'll talk about, and then I'll let you go. Let you go. Um, the Raiders' weakness on defense is the deep ball. That's
yeah,
actually one of their weaknesses. So
yeah,
their safeties are not really that great.
yeah.
Their corners are smaller. So the Bills should do better at because actually Raiders play good run defense. I'm sorry, Raiders do play good run defense and
Mhm.
get the ball out. We'll see what Matt Crosby does and Chandler Jones MIA. I don't know what the hell happened. What's happening with them? But MIA, there's something wrong with them. Who knows if he plays? But then on the other side, the Bills' kryptonite is their run defense, and
hmm
there's a big boy named Josh Jacobs coming.
Yeah,
So what the Bills need to do is come out, start firing, all cylinders, be up by like 10 or 14 points. So
hmm
the Raiders have to pass because Jacoby
Jimmy
Myers might
G.
not play. Yeah,
Yep.
Jimmy G. Jimmy G is he likes to turn the ball over at times.
Yeah, he
So
does.
yeah. So
Yep.
I got the Bills.
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean and I forgot to mention this. So the Raiders beat the Broncos 17-16 last week, so they're actually 1-0. Yeah, I think the Bills are favored by 9. I think I see it being like a 27-17 game for Buffalo. It's not a blowout, but it's not like last second game. Um it'll be interesting though. I do think the Raiders. I mean, they keep it competitive for a bit, but then I see Buffalo winning. They don't. Even though the Raiders do have a good line, it's not the Jets line. I mean, talking defensive line, it's just not like they can't
Their
throw the waves.
secondary.
They can't throw the
Yeah.
waves like the Jets. They
Right.
got like 10 guys deep. It's just ridiculous how many guys they send. I mean, they're Dallas like, no, just just playing. But yeah, so they're pretty good. Um. All right. The next game, Lions Seahawks. So the Lions if you don't recall, I think we talked about it because we actually filmed last week after they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, and the Seahawks lost. They're 0-1. They lost to the Rams at home. So they are 0-1. Look terrible. So it's 1 week. Are the Seahawks as bad as they were that last week? No. And the Lions like Super Bowl contenders because they won a game because Stonehands, you know, Kadarius Tony couldn't catch. No. But I will say it didn't look good for the Seahawks the way they played. And here's a stat for you, Thomas. They only had 45 offensive plays the entire game, Seattle.
Oh
45.
yeah,
Last year, the
it,
least amount of plays they had was 65. So that's
it's
20
good
less plays.
because the Rams were grinding it out. But we'll talk
Yep.
about that.
And that's the thing, and that's the issue with I think Seattle. That's another reason why I think I picked them in there because I
I
didn't think the division to make the playoffs, and you didn't, which I
did.
understand. But the one issue that I wasn't sure about is their run defense. Like, Wagner, I mean, Bobby Wagner had 19 tackles. That's great
Mhm.
for him, but that's also telling you that he's the only guy that can make plays for them, in the run game. So, the Lions are 5-point favorite. I kind of like Seattle to cover that actually. So I don't think the Lions are five
Yeah.
points better than Seattle. I think Seattle's going to come out. But
Okay.
Seattle did beat them last year too in Detroit. Um, so, but I do think the Lions win the game. But I
Yeah.
think it's a close game, like 23-24 or something like that. And
Yeah.
it's funny, over under is 47. I didn't even realize that till I said that. So I think it's gonna be 20. I think it's right on. I think it's 24-23 lines.
I got the Lions too. I think the Lions are going to win. I would. What's the spread? 9,
Five.
5. I think they're going to win by 7, but that
Mhm.
or at least 7 points. But Seattle lost their right tackle. He's IR, and
Mhm.
then their left tackle Cross is also hurt. So they got two. They might have two backup tackles.
Mhm.
And you saw what the Lions were doing last week. Their D line is not very. It's
Yeah, pretty
not
good. Yeah.
pretty bad, yeah. And they got these little tweeners that are quick. They go in. They got Hutchinson, So, um, and then they're going to also run the ball. So the Lions have one of the best offensive line. And what they'll do is they're going to play old school football. Dan Campbell looks like an old school football type of
Yeah.
guy, right? So
He's
I
a
know he
tight
came
end.
from yeah, I
Yeah.
know he came from New Orleans, and with the
Dallas.
different, but Dallas, well,
Yep.
Yeah, Dallas and New Orleans, yep.
Hmm.
So he plays Smash Mouth. So when they get a lead, they're just gonna run the ball like they did last week. They got Dave. They got a
Hmm.
1-2 punch.
Hmm.
They got remember Lightning and Thunder, kind of what the
Hmm.
Giants used to do. Just
Hmm.
run it with Montgomery and Gibbs, and if you could bring up the linebackers, you're gonna see wheel routes. You're gonna see Sam Brown, the Sun God, Amazon
Hmm.
Brown over there.
Hmm.
With those either hook routes, or he's going to go over the middle,
Yeah.
5 yard in. That's what the line's going to do. And Jared Goff doesn't like to make mistakes. I don't know. He's either scared or he's just he's a game manager.
Hmm.
He doesn't really turn the ball over that much, right? So
Not
I just
not
see I
lately,
just see,
no.
yeah,
Even though
like
this,
oh, yeah, I'm talking about with
yeah,
Lions. Playing with
yeah,
the Lions. He's been
yeah,
with the Lions. So he hasn't been able. He's not turning over the ball.
yeah. Hmm.
So I see the Lions winning, but if Seattle, here's a stat for you. If you start 0-2, you have 11% chance of making the playoffs. So
Yeah,
it's a little stat right there.
that is a
And if you
stat.
start 0-3, less than 5%. So
Yeah, it's a big game for Seattle.
yeah,
Especially since their schedule was supposedly looked favorable in the beginning.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, next game on the docket is the Chargers, who are 0-1. They lost to the Dolphins in a thriller of a game. We'll talk about that a little bit later in some other segments. And versus the Titans, who also lost. I think they lost by one. Am
Yeah,
I wrong?
just
Yeah. Yeah,
one point to
16.
the Saints.
Yeah,
Yep.
16-15 to the Saints in a ugly defensive grind out game, and
Correct.
poor quarterback play by the Titans. So the game is in Tennessee, and the line is the Chargers are 3-point favorite, and over under is 45. So, what are your thoughts on that game, T?
I'm not going to talk much because
Yeah.
the Chargers are the Houston Rockets of football. So when Harden and Ball were there, like all this talent, they can't do anything. I swear. I'm a
Yeah.
Rockets fan too. I'm going with. I think it's going to sound crazy, but I don't think I think the Titans might win this game. Um, because what do you got to do with the offense? Run the ball. Let's just run the ball and play good defense against the Chargers,
Yeah.
and keep Herbert off the field. That's to me. I'm going to go with the upset with the Titans.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. It's like weird, but I I didn't like what I saw from the Chargers defense. I know everyone's like Miami's offense is explosive, and they are, but I don't know, man. This is something going on in there that I don't trust, and I think the Saints defense is really good, and so that's why I think the Titans looked as bad as they did. I think
Daniel 3 interceptions.
yeah, I think what's the name? I think Hopkins is gonna have a nice game. It's completely different than playing Marshawn Lattimore. I know J.C. Jackson's supposedly good. He ain't Marshawn Lattimore. So,
Supposedly, he hasn't been good. He hasn't
yeah,
been good since he's been in the last 2 years or
I
year and a half.
know, I know. They paid him like he
Year
was nice, and getting
Bill
cooked.
Belichick.
He getting cooked
Yeah,
like he's at a hibachi place.
right.
You know?
My man,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk about it later, but he's
Yeah.
terrible.
Whew.
But
So I'm with you. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take the underdog. I'll take the Titans.
you
I
know
mean,
what I
I'll
mean?
take
They're
the
going to be
points.
upset.
They're 3 point.
Yeah,
Yeah, the 3 point underdog too. So I'm like, I'm gonna take them. Yep. So next game is the Bears Bucks. Oh,
yeah.
so
I don't spend some time, but
yeah,
go
yeah, yeah. I'll pick the Bucks to beat
ahead.
the Bears. They're 2.5 point
I'm gonna go
favorite.
Bears. I'm gonna go Bears, and we'll
Yeah,
move on.
yeah.
Everybody care.
Sorry, Bears fans. We know who you are. Love you, buddy. But your team's trash, so me and Thomas ain't gonna really talk about it. You know.
Right.
But yeah, yeah. Bucks did show their defense can play, so I
Yeah.
think that's why I feel
Oh yeah.
comfortable about that. Uh, Big game, I think. This was my AFC Championship game, if you guys recall. Uh, and exactly what is going to happen exactly here is Chiefs at Jags. So Chiefs are actually 3.5 point favorites, and the Lions over under is 51. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be close, but I do think the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah.
I think um, the Jags played decent, but their defense, I don't know. They were they kind of were disappointing to me last week a little bit. I thought they were going to be getting more pressure than they did, and they didn't. I mean, now Colts line, they're supposed to be good. I mean, they traditionally are good, but they had been regressing. But I mean, they played well. So I think the Jags, they'll score. It's gonna be a high scoring game to me. I think like 34-27 or something like that. Or shoot, 34-30. I mean, I think the over under is 51. I actually see it being high scoring. But yeah, I think Chiefs get a win.
Yeah. Before I get into it, the Jags better fans better pray to the football guys. The Brandon Sheriff didn't tear his ACL. I thought he tore his
Yeah.
ACL, but it was ankle
Yeah.
because he's a big part of their. He's their best
Yeah.
offensive line player. You could see when he left the game, they were getting mushed in the middle, right? So
hmm
they were getting moved around and stuff like that. Is Kelsey playing?
I
Because
yeah, I think so. I think Kelsey's playing and Chris Jones signed that contract, so I think they're both
yeah.
back.
So the problem is that like they're being real sneaky about like what Kelsey if he's playing, if he's
hmm
not. And you remember he's old man, he's an old guy, so
Yeah.
older guy. This is a tough game. To me, there's two games we're going to talk about. One, which is going to be the spotlight later on. But this is tough. the problem, the reason why I'm going to slightly go to Chiefs. The reason why I'm going to go with Chiefs is because for some reason the Jaguars always have a turnover that just doesn't
Hmm.
make sense. You're like,
Hmm.
why did you? They don't, like they just they
Yeah.
have a turnover. Like when Beasley or whatever his name
Bigsby, yeah, Tank Bigsby.
Bigsby, yeah, like what are you doing? Like, it's like every in the last year, even though Chargers blew a 27-point lead, Trevor Lawrence has 4 interceptions. Or when they played Philadelphia and Trevor Lawrence had it just I don't know why they always have these dumb
Hmm.
turnovers that like
Yep.
cost them a game.
Yep.
If they can clean that up, I would say
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised. But the Chiefs had a long time to
Yeah.
prepare.
Yeah.
They can't start 0-2.
Hmm.
If the Chiefs start 0-2, I might have to
Uh,
call Nick right out. I'm
yeah.
like, go ahead.
Yeah, he might
Go
be a
ahead.
guest on the show. Like, hey, you need to get some therapy. You can just come talk to us and, get
Right.
that out the way.
But I'm,
But
I'm, I'm going
I
to
wouldn't be
go
surprised if the
with
Jags
yeah.
win, but I just don't think they will.
But if I was in Vegas, I would put them in a parlay. I would put them in a parlay. My
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We'll go. This one should be a quick one too. Texans lost what 25-9 to
Yeah, yeah.
um the Ravens. They're playing the Colts. The Colts are 1 point favorites. Over under 39. That tells you what they think of.
I'll go the Colts. I mean, that's just. But moving on, they're both terrible.
Yeah, I guess I'd go Colts. I don't feel great about it though, but I think the 39 is about right. It's gonna be ugly. Next game, Niners who beat the Steelers handily, 30-7 over the Rams, who we talked about earlier, who beat the Seahawks handily, actually. Both won on the road. This game is in LA. San Francisco's 8 point favorite.
Oof.
So,
I mean, I got the Niners, but this game is going to be close in the beginning, and then it's going to be, it's going to be second half. It's going to be a little bit lopsided. The reason why is because that offensive line looked good against Seattle. The Rams was referring to,
hmm
but that's a makeshift offensive line. I mean, they got 3 new starters. In the first game, I don't know. I don't know if they can stop that pass rush for the Niners. This is going to be a long game for Matthew Stafford. He
Yep.
better enjoy that game he played last week.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And also, no Cooper Cup. He's out for 4 games. So,
Right. Oh yeah, yeah, sure.
uh, yeah, I don't see them winning this game. Also, they did win the NFC Championship game against the Niners. That's the only win McVay has against Shanahan. Only one
Right.
ever. So, and they've been
Oh
playing each other.
wow.
Yeah, never beaten them. That was his first time beating them. It was a big time to win. So he was like whatever 8-0 against them till that game, and then they beat him again
Oh
twice
yeah,
last
yeah.
year. So I think they'll beat him again this year. It's the Niners Rams. It's just not it's just like
Division.
yes, it's a division game, just like Cowboys Giants. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't mean anything. You beat the it's just that just what unfortunately Giants fans is what we do with that. We beat
Mhm.
you guys. Um, Speaking of Giants, they play the Cardinals, who lost to the Commanders
Competitive
20
game.
yeah, was it 20-16 or
Yeah,
22-16?
2016
Or
with Sam
2016.
Howell walk off touchdown run. So basically to win the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the Cardinals actually played pretty well. Their defense looked really good, actually. I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised how
They got
good
a
they
decent
looked.
guy, the
Yeah.
head coach.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's right from the Eagles. Their defense was all over the place. I mean, it was actually impressive. But Giants, they're not as bad. I mean, 40-0, they're not as bad as that. And it's not going to be the exact same. But they're 5.5 point favorites. I'm taking the Cardinals from a point perspective. I don't think the Cardinals are going to get blown out. But for the win, I probably would pick the Giants. I think they will get bounced
I
back. But it's going to be
I'll
a
keep it.
close game, though. It's going to be really close. It's going to be similar to the Commanders game, in my opinion, where the Cardinals were winning the entire game, actually.
Yeah,
So,
I've been a Giants going by 10, but that's just me if I'm betting. But
yeah.
it's just because they got to come out and I mean Dable, and then actually the Cardinals. I think last week they showed, and last week they played good in defense, but the Commanders had a new rookie quarterback. I don't know. Hey, we'll see. But
Yeah.
I got the Giants. I mean, I really don't want to talk about this game that much. I
Yeah,
really
no, we
don't
talked about it way longer than I wanted to,
care.
but well, a lot of our friends, we're New Yorkers, so
Well, I think the
romance
Giants
are
can
there.
win by 10. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah. So
Cardinals are terrible. They're gonna be.
they
They
are
might not
terrible.
even win a game for till week 11. But go
Yep. And
ahead.
speaking of the Commanders versus the Broncos. Um,
That's me.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Interesting
So
game.
the Broncos are a 3.5 point favorite, and the over-under is 39. Um, I think it's like a low-key big game. Like Broncos, if people, the Broncos have expectations, you can't go 0-2, and one of those losses, and those losses be the Commanders and Raiders. That's not a good start because schedule does not
Um,
get easier for them.
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
you can't go. Let's ride. But try to win games.
yeah.
But
I I think the Broncos are gonna win though. Um, I think it's gonna be close, but their defense actually played pretty well. I mean, I thought the defense played well. Their offense, it was kind of weird. Like, you got Sean Payton there, but I don't really know how they look pretty much the same. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Um, but I do think their defense is so good that they might swallow up the Commanders offensively, who looked okay. Um, so I'm gonna pick the Broncos, but I do think it's a close game. The 3.5 point favorites. When it's that close, I don't know. I always pick the underdogs with those close games. I just pick the underdog. So I would pick the underdog
yeah,
on from a line perspective. I would pick the Commanders.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you on big game. I hate
Mhm.
saying must win games week 2, but this is a big game because there's already friction with Russ and Sean Payton, right?
Yeah,
You can just tell. You can see he's getting frustrated and sound like because Russell Wilson, I forgot what state either one or two times past 15 yards.
yeah,
Like one
yeah,
like what like it was some stat they were showing during the game. I mean, he got a touchdown. Corn Sutton, he had one pass, but I don't know. He was just afraid to throw the ball deep,
yeah.
and so I don't know what's going on over there. But Jared Judy will be back apparently,
Hmm.
and Commanders. I just don't think they have because the Broncos defense that's pretty good. The
Hmm.
Commanders, I don't know. I don't know if they have enough firepower to keep up. So I got the Broncos, but it's going to be an ugly game.
Hmm.
Like 17-14 or
Yep.
17-16
Yep.
type of
I
game.
think I think is I agree with you. I think it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be similar. I think similar to the Cardinals game. It's gonna be ugly. 20 to 17, 21-20. I don't know. It's 20.
By the way,
Go ahead.
I forgot Kareem Jackson was still in the league. My God, he's like 50 years old.
Yeah, I know. It's true. Still got a job,
right.
man. He like, yeah, the opposite of
Good
Tommy.
for
Opposite of Tommy.
him. right.
Got a job. But
And he laid Jacoby Myers, but
oh yeah. Whew, we did rock him. But yeah, so last late game is the Jets go to Dallas. Dallas is a 9 point favorite, which actually means the line went down. It was started at I think 10, was a 9.5, and now it's 9. But the over under is at 38. I got it at 40 because I was like, that under is the lock of the century watching these games because I mean the Jets defense is still the truth. And the Cowboys defense, you already saw what happened. So um I think Dallas is gonna win um just by default. Um because I don't see the Jets scoring. But I do think I'm a little worried about how Dallas's offense is gonna look against the Jets defense because I still don't trust us. I don't think our quarterback has a lot of Josh Allen-ish things in him. He gets bad feet and his mechanics leave and he gets
turnover.
pressure and then turnovers. So, I mean, that's the way to keep a team that is, that you're better than down, as we just saw on Monday night. So I do think the game may be close for a while. I don't see the Jets scoring much. Like 6
Yeah.
points is kind of what I think the Jets scoring. So 17-6, something like that.
20, yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see us scoring that many points. I don't either. So, but I'm not to put it like this again. It's another New York team. As a Cowboy fan, I'm just like I was last week. I wasn't cocky and confident. I'm just not very worried about this game. It's not a game on the calendar that I'm very worried about. So,
Right. Well, correction, New Jersey team, but I got you. But but yeah, I I I mean I don't even know if the Jets will score 6 points. Who knows? But yeah, something like maybe six. If they score 10, who knows? But they will lose 24. I think 24-10 or 24-6. Right.
mm,
Now, what before I don't want to spend too much time on players, but I do want to bring a player up because I have Jets fan to talk about Mr. Sauce Gardner over there. My
mm,
man got cooked last week. Cooked.
he sure
so
did.
so you talking all pro and all that because you didn't guard the side and you hands there. You got cooked. Gabe Davis cooked you on one pass, and
Hmm.
Gabe Davis runs the slowest routes humanly possible, right?
Yeah.
So you got CeeDee Lamb this so, Sauce, I need to see you. You looking real watery, fam. Like you know what I'm saying? So, like,
You ain't got no seasoning sauce. You got no seasoning in that
yeah,
sauce.
yeah. You guys look watery. So I need to see Sauce do his thing. I like the guy. I'm saying he just, people annoyed him like the best cornerback in the NFL. I'm like, well,
Yes,
okay.
that's
I
yeah,
mean,
slow down, right. Like, whoa.
yeah, right. So, but yeah, I got Dallas. We'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
this is good for Dak, by the way. This is a good test for Dak.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this. I would like to see if he comes out and plays really well, then my confidence level about winning it all will go up. But I don't see that happening. I've watched Dak play for long enough to know he's not going to have a great game. Now, will he? Maybe he won't turn over the ball. We'll see. But I'm a bet he's going to have one turnover at least.
Okay.
All right. The Sunday night football game is the Dolphins against the Patriots. In New England. Miami's a 3-point favorite. It's a tough one. This is a really tough one. I mean, I think weather plays a factor into it. I think it's another close game. Um, I don't know who's gonna win this game. I know everyone likes the Dolphins and they were really excited, but the Patriots defense is not the Chargers defense. The Dolphins about to get a rude awakening. If they think they're gonna just run up and down the field, ask the Eagles. They got an awakening
Yeah.
quickly. They're like, whoa. This we thought we were nice. We thought we had all these weapons. Can't run the ball. Got no time to pass. I mean, I'm telling you guys, said it before when we did the preview. I'm like, yeah, the Patriots defense is the truth.
Tough. Yeah, we said
Top
it's gonna
five
be a top
defense.
five.
It was like, so you might not like them, but I'm like, man, these boys they're not playing. So that's a tough one. I mean, you can go ahead. I mean, I still actually don't really know. I guess
I mean,
yeah,
it's tough for several reasons. It's a division game.
yeah.
The Dolphins look great. I'm not gonna. I can't hate on Dolphins. Look really good. Mike McDaniel schemed stuff up.
Hmm.
Tua looked good. I think Ryan Clark hurt his feelings a little bit, so he had to show out. But this is to me. This is, and I'm gonna talk about later. But the Chargers just played terrible defense. I don't want to get started. We'll talk about it
Yeah,
later on, but
yeah.
the Chargers were not going to do the same thing. I'm sorry, the Patriots are not going to do the same thing as Chargers.
Right.
Bill Belichick takes your best player away,
Yep.
which was going to be Tyreek Hill,
Yep.
right? But Jalen Waddle is nasty too, so
Yep.
it's whatever. But I'm telling you right now, the Patriots are going to have some wrinkles that no one's ever seen, or haven't seen, or two of them seen. They're going
Hmm.
to put these wrinkles and everything, right? So they're going
Hmm.
to do their thing defense. The problem is that while Miami's defense did look great last week, um, can Matt Jones and team get it together?
Yeah.
It just their offense looked decent last week,
Yeah. I thought
or
it was
was it
decent.
the yeah? But
But the Eagles
I don't
defense,
know.
right? Right. Eagles
Yeah,
defense, same issues again. It's funny. Bill
yeah,
Belichick, they exposed what I saw in Eagles defense last year, and
right.
but
So,
um,
it's gonna be interesting. The name that I look for is Uche, right? That's a guy to look
mhm.
for on defense because
Yeah.
it's like a hybrid, and that's what you need. You need a guy that's because the Chargers they try to do that with Kendricks, who looks so damn slow in the middle.
Yeah.
So Uche is more of a fast. He's like a safety playing damn linebacker. And Bill
Hmm.
Belichick loves playing three safeties. He
Hmm.
just gonna have so many schemes that you're gonna be like, what's going? I can't wait for this game.
Yeah.
But I got the Dolphins. I would not be surprised in England. I have the Dolphins. I
Yeah.
think they're going to win like 24 to 17. One touchdown. But if the Patriots win, but I got the Dolphins. The Patriots win, they're not going to be able to win. Dolphins score more than 20. There's no way, in my opinion. But we'll
Yeah, I
see.
agree. It can't be a shootout.
Mm,
I mean,
yeah,
Patriots are not gonna. I mean, Dolphins were giving up tons of plays, so
yeah.
I think that actually, I kind of think the Patriots again. It's weather permitting, because I think I feel like the Dolphins can play, and if it's wet or whatever, I mean, they just got so much speed, so then that'll help them. I think the Patriots need the weather to come. It sounds stupid that you base the game on the weather, but the Patriots receivers aren't good enough where they can catch the ball in the rain. I mean, like you saw that in the game. And Mac
Right.
Jones, he needs to be dry out there. I think if it is, I think I'm gonna take the Patriots actually. I think the Patriots are gonna win 24-23. Um, I think they stop them in the red zone. I think that's gonna be the key. So
I hope New England beats Miami so you
yeah,
can stop all the damn Miami talk. But go yeah, I
yep.
mean,
All right, we got two more games real quick. Really quick. Saints, Panthers.
yeah,
Monday night.
Saints.
Yeah, Saints. I
I
mean,
think Saints. Yeah, I don't care about talking about Saints, but yeah.
yeah, yep. And then the the last, and that means the Saints will be 2-0, by the way, if they win. And the last game will be the Browns, who demolished the Bengals. Um, 24-3 of playing the Steelers, who got demolished at Pittsburgh. So another division game. Um, no Deontay Johnson. Cam Hayward's out too. Um, kind of thinking the Browns are going to win this game, but I think it's going to be close. But it's tough because I don't know. I've been tossing. This one's a toss up for me. I don't think the Steelers are as bad as they were last week. It's like a bounce back game, but kind of like the Browns a little bit in this one. Ugly game. Another ugly game. You thought?
I'm trying to looking at some stats
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's hard to pick because Steelers look so bad. The
Yeah.
Steelers looked terrible last week. I mean, Kenny Pickett looked like he was overwhelmed. They couldn't run the ball. Um, you know, Patrick Peterson. Wow.
Wow.
Look, I mean, you got Patrick Peterson and I mean Levi. You made Levi Wallace look like a Pro Bowler on the side. Patrick Peterson looked bad. I'm gonna go with the Steelers because again, Mike Tomlin is gonna
Mike
come
Tomlin.
prepared.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an ugly game, but I
Yeah.
go
But
Steelers.
I'll be tuning in, man. I'm telling you, and it's a great segue because I'm telling you, AFC North games are entertaining. So last week's game, the Browns Bengals wasn't as entertaining just because the weather was just so bad and both offenses looked terrible. But that brings us to our spotlight game of the week 2, which is the Ravens are going into Cincinnati. Ravens beat the Texans 25-9. I mentioned that before. And the Bengals got mollywopped 24-3. It was
Yeah,
terrible. Burrow threw for 80 something yards. 80,
82.
82 yards in a full game. Not good. Um, so the line is the Bengals are actually 3.5 point favorites and over under is 46.5. So um well, we're going to talk about this game. We're looking forward to this one, and next week we'll see what happens. So for me, I think the Bengals are they're such a weird team, right? You don't know they don't match up well with the Browns, so they're just gonna look bad. That's why I told you guys last week, even if we didn't go over games, I said if you're betting, bet on the Browns to win straight up.
Yeah.
It's a lock, which was my lock of the week. And I think though that being said, it's also different. These guys match up pretty well with each other. They know each other pretty well. Um, I'm kind of leaning to the Bengals to win, but I don't feel good about it. Like I think it's going to be a close game. It's weird. I think the Ravens are a better team than the Bengals. I mean, that's
Right.
watching the games and not even the game, just even before the season. That's why I picked the Ravens to win the division. I just, for some reason, if they don't get to Burrow, I think he's going to carve them up because CJ Stroud, though they weren't looking amazing, I mean, Nico Collins and Robert Woods were eating,
Right.
you know?
Robin Woods looked good actually.
Yeah, he did. So I'm like, these guys are eating. I mean, they couldn't score because they're Texans, you know. They don't know how to stick, they can only do so much. Now you're raising up a level a little bit with the Bengals. You know they're gonna want to come back. You know that T. Higgins is gonna have a better. I mean, he had what, no catches?
7 targets, no
Yeah,
catches.
yeah, it was
I have
really
him
bad.
fantasy. I know.
Yeah, I have him on one of my teams too. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals, but it's gonna be a close game. Again, these 3.5 are tricky. They're trying to tell you like, oh, it's just a good. They're basically 3.5 means they're even. Even if your home team means a 3-point favorite. That's what even means for people that are not gamblers. 3.5 means I think Cincinnati's slightly better, which means it's a 1-point game to me. That's like a
Right.
24-23 game. That's about right
Right.
to me.
Right. This is gonna be an interesting game. So I'm gonna first start with what's the Ravens' kryptonite injuries. So Marlon Humphreys, he didn't play last week. He's not gonna play again, right? This week.
Hmm.
They say he has a practice, which they're gonna need him. And that's why you saw Robert Woods and Nico Collins eat a little bit. Those second year guys did not look really good out there. Marcus
Hmm.
Williams hurt himself, but they got Hamlin, right? So
Yeah.
even though he's terrible in coverage, but he's great in the run. And J.K. Dobbins, feel bad for that guy. He's not gonna be there.
Yeah.
So
I know, man. Achilles,
now,
man. Damn.
yeah, and then Mark Andrews, who Lamar missed badly last week, which I'm going to speak about Lamar in a second because Lamar is a key to me in this game. Everyone can talk about Burrow and coming back is Lamar. Lamar looked overwhelmed as a passer last week, and
Yeah, he
I
did.
called it out I called it during preseason. Mark Andrews, he missed way. I watched that game because
Hmm.
unfortunately I'm in Houston, and so sometimes I got Texas fans. Some of the passes he was making, I was like, "What are you doing? Like, what are?
Yeah.
Why can't you make a simple 8 yard pass? It's a hitch route, pass the ball, right? You
Hmm.
got Zay Flowers, my guy. Like you saw him,
Hmm.
give him the ball, and Bateman's back and everything. So Lamar has to play better. I'm talking about
Yeah.
as a passer, not a runner, right?
Right.
Because they're gonna blitz. So if Lamar doesn't play, I mean, it sounds obvious, but
Yeah.
Lamar has played decent, not even good, just played decent, and they got a chance. I'm not again. I told you guys before. I was a Bengals guy. I didn't like the
Yeah.
Bengals before. I still don't like the Bengals.
Right.
I think the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are going to win this game. I just see so many holes. Again, people have too much tape on them, right?
Hmm.
If you actually watch the game if you actually watch the game with the Browns were really smart. You know what the Browns did? Was like, we're just going to never blitz you. We're
Yep.
just we're not going to blitz you. We're going to just keep people over the top. We're going to what's that linebacker's name? Notre Dame guy they drafted last year. I'm sorry, I forgot his name.
So the African guy, I can't remember
Yeah,
his
yeah,
name.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
know what you're talking
so he was in the passing lane because they don't really have a great tight end, so there's passing lane. They're like, oh, Jamar Chase, you want to get the ball 5 yards and run? Sure, you can get it. So
about.
that's
Hmm.
all they did. I mean, the Browns, even though just like Josh Allen in the Jets, the
Hmm.
Browns are kind of like the Burrows' kryptonite.
Yeah.
The Ravens actually have the personnel to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh, just don't blitz. 4 people. How bad did Orlando Brown look? My goodness.
Oof. Oof.
Zaire Smith was on me. So,
He was
so,
destroying
so,
him.
so, so
Yeah.
if the Ravens play their defense, run the ball,
Hmm.
again, we talked about this, AFC North, run the
Yep.
ball, play defense, keep
Yep.
them off the field, then they're going to win. Um, it just I don't know. I just the Bengals did not look. I was not impressed at all.
Yeah.
of course Joe Burrow gets excuses now. He was
Yeah.
hurt
Yeah.
and all of the.
Yeah.
Come on, like
Yeah.
it's football. You play. You're on the field, so you got
Yeah.
to play.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Uh, and Lamar's got to play decent. And so if the Ravens lose, it's because Lamar decided to be preseason Lamar. Like
Yep.
not play football. So,
They also got to run the ball well. I mean, it was going to be
oh
Justice
yeah,
Hill or Gus Edwards. I heard they're going to bring up Melvin Gordon from the practice squad up.
which was a great stash.
Yeah, no, that is
Stash
a
him
great
away.
stash. Yeah, they kind of figured they know their history.
Right,
So they got to be able to run the ball well. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a close game. I do think the Ravens are a better team, but it's one of those gut feeling things that I think the Bengals will win. But of course, I'm not gonna be surprised. I still would bet on the Bengals to win. Just put it that way. There will be no
right,
money in my pocket picking the Bengals to cover 3.5. It's not happening. But I
right.
would tell you guys if you're doing straight up, I would pick the Bengals.
How
But I would take the
how that
Ravens.
fit?
Huh?
How does 50 million, $17 million Odell do? But
Yeah, that was yeah, I mean, well,
we'll see.
what do we have? It's good week one, but everybody was really excited. I'm like, yeah,
Right,
he don't got Matt Stafford throwing on the ball. I'm just saying. Matt Stafford made a guy from BYU, which you didn't even know they had wide receivers at BYU, look like Cooper Kupp last week. I'm just saying. It
right,
doesn't hurt when
right,
you have Matt Stafford, you know.
right.
Anyways, yeah, so that is week two in a recap. And we're looking forward to it, and we will discuss in detail next week the Ravens and Bengals game, and also preview week three. All right, so last segment, new segment for TNT Knows It All Sports. We're going to talk about, two things. First, we're going to talk about people that we think, when we talk about know it all, who dropped some knowledge, right? Like who showed some brains, dropped some knowledge on folks in list last week. And I'll start. So for me, my who dropped some knowledge or showed some brains out here was Mike McDaniel. Um, I know, the Chargers defense weren't great, but man, they weren't playing with their starting left tackle. You got, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on the line. That's still like formidable. Tua threw the ball 47 times, he threw for 470 yards, and he was not only not sacked, he was hit once, touched once the entire game. Is that because their line is that great? All of a sudden, the Miami Dolphins line is the 93 Cowboys line? No. It's a scheme. You watching them like, man, they were just, Mike McDaniel's like, yo, one read, quick plays, run, 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 fake play action, looks like the run, moving tight ends, motioning, look, doing plays that look exactly like the same play, but they're different plays. I was like, that's how you scheme up stuff. So he was out there making, Staley and those guys look like they were high school people. So somebody was dropping knowledge out there. It was Mike McDaniel. I'll give the boy Wonder some credit. Man, he was doing his thing. So who's your candidate, Tom?
Again, it is Sean McVay. Sean McVay was very impressive. 30-13, they beat Seattle. Rival game. Seattle actually has a decent defense. They ranked
Hmm.
top 15 last year. With a new offensive line, three new offensive line players, three new ones. Some of them you probably never heard of, right? Their left tackle and their left tackle and their center already came back, but everybody else was new.
Hmm.
No Cooper Cup and Tutu Altu, which I didn't even know he's still in the league. At 5'6",
Atwell,
oh, I'm
to the
sorry,
Atwell, yeah.
Tutu Atwell. Then they had the BYU guy, the fifth round pick, out there. They had Cam Akers, Kieran Williams, Notre
Hmm.
Dame running back. I mean, you look at a team, you're like again, I always refer to Madden because Madden season up. I wouldn't want to be the Rams in Madden to play football, right?
Right.
I'd rather be Seattle. Well, Sean McVay came out there and stuck to his scheme, right? The scheme
Hmm.
was let Matthew Stafford be Matthew Stafford, right? Get these guys in the slot. Get these guys do little
Hmm.
bubble screens. A lot of shifting. If you watch the game, a lot of shifting, confusing the Seattle Seahawks. You know how they don't like to their players don't follow nobody, so that he would shift the players to the side where you saw a better matchup. Made a great adjustments there of the game. It just looked very, very good. Well, also, he ran the ball 40 times. I know at the end they were winning, but he ran the ball 40 times, and he actually on average 2.8 yards a carry. But he stuck to the run. He's like, oh, you know what?
Yep.
I'm still sticking to the run. And they weren't averaging like 5 yards a carry in the
Nope.
first half. They still ran the ball 30 or 28 times in the first half, which they look at, right? They ran the ball. They didn't let Matthew Stafford just play kind of hero ball out there. Just like, we're going to run the ball, get a few yards here, dink and dunk. Did very, very well.
Yep.
But he went in. I like what he did with the motioning. If you guys like have all 22, I watched that. He did a lot of motion. He was confusing everybody. He didn't know where to go, right? So,
Hmm.
and here's another stat: only 2 passes to the tight end. All the passes were
Yeah.
to wide receivers.
Yeah. I
So
know Higby, right? He needs such a big deal for him. They were just not using him.
yeah, so they were going to outside, using the speed, using a little bit, right? So,
Hmm.
oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
man.
three passes to Higby. My apologies, three. I love two, but
Yeah. Yeah, man. Those both of them. I agree with you on McVay. I mean, they were dropping some knowledge, man. Those just I like we're out here the game within the game, right? You got the players, but man, when you can outthink the other person, that gives your team an advantage. And I thought both those guys gave their team an advantage and got them to
right,
win. All right. So next segment is all right. So we talk about the people that got some knowledge. Then we got some
right.
people who are like, yo, what are you doing? Like you the
Right. What are
opposite.
you
Like you're
doing?
like,
Like, what
bro,
are you doing?
what are you doing? So,
Right.
Thomas, who's your what are you doing candidate for this
Uh,
week?
the what are you doing is, you know, how he has a job still, Brandon Staley, right? So, yeah, literally give up a 27-point lead in the
Hmm.
playoff, and Trevor Lawrence looked like Nate Peterson on their 4 interceptions. And then you're like, okay, he's going to come back. You guys spend a payroll of over $200 million on your defense between J.C. Jackson, uh, uh, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Hendricks, Darwin James.
Yeah.
All this money on the defense. I mean, they got a standing defense. When it comes on paper,
Paper on
they got
paper.
great paper, right?
Hmm.
So you're like, oh, we're going to do it. What made it worse is that what are you? You're an idiot because you played one on one with the fastest player since Deion Sanders, named Tyreek Hill. They
Or
weren't even playing it. They didn't even put a man on top. Like if you actually watch the film, he was open. I mean, Tua looked good, but Tyreek had 5 yards on these guys with no safety help. Tyreek is like, what? You had no safety help? Let me just try to figure it out. He played terrible. Didn't switch up. Did he? It was literally a 3-4 base defense with a few blitzes, and just they look lost and terrible. Just
yeah.
absolutely terrible. The man needs to be drug tested because I don't know if he's on some type of substance, like maybe
Yeah.
because he has to stay up late at night because he thinks he's getting fired. He might be on that cocaine. I don't know what it is, guys, but the man is high because he didn't know what was going on. What made it even worse, the last point was that not once did you get burned, J.C. Jackson. Not twice did you get burned. Not 3 times.
I know.
4 times he got burned. And I get by Tyreek Hill, and you still didn't have any help up top.
Hmm.
It is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Watch actually embarrassing. He got burned. I mean, other times Tyreek, took short plays and went here. I'm talking about the actual deep ball. And
Yeah.
we're not even talking about the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
The
One on
I
one
don't even
again
know what
on the
one-on-one.
outside.
Like, what are you doing on the outside? Great pass by Tua. I'll give
It
him
was a
that.
great pass by
But
the
but 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 but, but what are you doing? You're an idiot. But go ahead. What do you
way.
got?
Yeah, so yeah, I can't disagree with Brandon Staley. I mean, I don't know how he has a job. Stephen A said he's like, what I say before, he shouldn't have got on the bus after the game. And I couldn't agree I couldn't agree with him anymore. So my what are you doing is DK Metcalf. So DK Metcalf, if you saw, they're getting blown out, all right? Game is
Mhm.
basically over. This guy selfishly wants to start hitting a person after the play, getting a personal foul. Like, what are you doing? That's like when you're getting blown out. That's like, you're down 42-0. You get a first down and you do a first down signal. Like, what you
Right,
doing? Like,
right, right.
what are you doing? Are you an idiot? Like it wasn't even like the guy was doing a dirty play. It was just stupid, selfish, not caring about the team. Like I don't like that, man. Like and I'll and I'll say that I don't want that as a teammate. Like that's just dumb. All right. Stop being stupid. Okay. That's basically this segment. It's like, what are you doing? Like,
All right.
where's the energy during the game? I need your feistiness when it counts, not at the end to have plays to mess up your team. So and that was my what are you doing? There's a lot of other candidates that we had. When I saw that, I was like, man, what an idiot. Like you don't be that guy. So that is my what are you doing moment. So
Right.
anyways,
But do you trust a man that dyes his hair in two different colors? I mean,
nope, I don't.
right,
Hey, to
right,
y'all that do that, more power to you. Just saying,
right.
you're not my number one
Well,
receiver. That's all I'm
right,
saying. You ain't my number one.
right, right.
All right. Well, thank you. That was our new segment. We'll try to do that every week. Give us some stuff that stood out. Now, it's going to be in the world of sports, so it doesn't necessarily have to be, football. Just, week one, everybody's excited about football. Um, and one thing I want to say, you don't even know I'm going to say this, but happy about the U. That was a big win against Texas A&M. Those boys out in Texas. I know you got some people that you know that are probably
Oh yeah.
Texas A&M fans. Loving every minute. I'm very happy to see us get that win. So keep it up, Miami, so that I could actually like college football for at least 6 weeks. All right. Well, thank you, guys, Thomas. Another good episode. Hope you guys enjoy the week of football, and we will talk to you next week. Please subscribe and keep giving us comments and sending us feedback. We love your feedback, and we'll keep it up.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right.
See you next week.
Later.